We want to get you back to that press briefing I told you. It's underway. St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office bringing us up to speed on this arson investigation at the mosque in Fort Pierce. Let's listen.
Digging out the crime scene and collecting the evidence there have completed that portion of the investigation. That portion of the investigation, however, will continue with the analysis of what was discovered during that process. Samples have been sent up to the state crime laboratory for arson analysis. What we hope to have happen is to determine what exactly was the accelerant used that created this fire. Those samples, or many of those samples, were driven up there so that they could be analyzed immediately by the laboratory in Tallahassee. As you can see, things are winding down here. That does not indicate or imply that the investigation is over. It is nowhere near over. And that's one reason why I wanted to speak with you today. Currently, we have provided 2 videotapes and still photographs of the suspected arsonist. That information was put out to the public by you folks here, which I sincerely appreciate. Unfortunately, I'm saddened to say that we have only received 8 phone calls, only 8 tips relating to this event. That is very disheartening because regardless of individuals' beliefs, this is a place of worship and a tragic situation. And the individuals responsible for this need to be brought to justice. I implore you to put this information out again, and I ask that the public to please call us with tips. I would also like to announce, and I'm going to read off of here so that I don't mess this out, through the assistance of the Florida Advisory Committee on Arson Prevention, they're making a $5,000 reward available to anyone who provides information that leads us to the arrest of the subject involved in this arson. Tips can still be called into our Sheriff's Office line at 772-462-3230 or Treasure Coast Crime Stoppers at 1-800-273-TIPS. That's 1-800-273-TIPS. As I stated, this concludes this portion of the investigation. As we speak now, and has occurred throughout the investigation, there are individuals that are following up on whatever leads we have and exploring other investigatory means to bring this to a conclusion. However, because we have completed where we are here at the scene, we will not be doing any more public press conferences until such time as we have something substantial to offer. Any updates that occur will be posted on our Facebook page for you to have. And I'll entertain any questions.
Is this a hate crime yet, or are you calling it that?
Well, again, Florida statute does not have a hate crime specific statute. They have an enhancement to a crime. So this being an arson, if it meets the criteria, there would be an enhanced penalty in the state system. There is no such thing as a hate crime statute. Now, do I think hate was involved in this? Myself, like you, with this occurring on September 11th, the anniversary of that, the fact that it is an Islamic center of worship, certainly I feel that is probably the case. Do I have evidence to say that specifically this individual targeted this because it was a mosque? I do not. Or their motive, for that matter.
You keyed in on the accelerant. Why is that?
Well, the burn, and I'm glad you asked that. First off, what the analysis has showed us thus far is that the fire was started exactly where we had thought it was, on the steps leading to the east door and on the door itself. There was nothing inside and no burn patterns inside, so we know that's where it started. That matches the video, so we have the evidence matching the video. Why would that be important? Well, if we could determine what was used, then let's say, for an example, I'm not saying this is the case, if it was some sort of lighter fluid or things like that, that would give us an avenue to explore further evidence, maybe through purchases or things like that.
When you said it's been driven up to a lab, you don't mean the Indian River crime lab, right?
No, sir. Tallahassee.
That's a special state fire?
Yes, state fire marshals have that.
Okay.
Just as the state fire marshals were here with us throughout this.
No arrests made, obviously, then? Or?
Well, am I smiling? There's no arrest made.
Major, you
So
said
what-
you had about 8 tips. People that called in, at least 8 people. Anything that you could use from any of those at all?
We received 8 phone calls with information. All 8 of those have been vetted out and have been non-productive.
You've been working this a while. Each crime is different, but can you characterize the amount of calls and tips you got here compared to other crimes?
And that's the disheartening thing about this. We've received very few calls, and it's very disheartening. You know, I believe that somebody out there knows who this individual is. This individual told somebody. This individual may have some injuries. Somebody needs to call.
What do
Some-
you say about the
Is this $5,000 reward on top of the $5,000 that CARE is offering for a $10,000 total reward? Are you aware of that?
I'm not involved in CARE's award or offer. If they offer an award, then that's something that they're doing. So we offer this award through that coalition.
The amount of damage to the mosque, I mean, he characterizes it all. Is this like going to be, are they going to be able to repair? Or
I think
is
you
it-
asked me that yesterday.
I'm just asking.
It's substantial damage, and it has a great deal of repairs, and I can't tell you the amount. And Jan, I know you had something.
yeah? Why is ATF here?
Well, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms is here assisting us at our request. As you know, this is a place of worship. It is also an Islamic center. Due to the date of the incident and the possible implications, we have asked the federal authorities to help us and assist us. And quite honestly, if and when, I should say, when we identify this individual and place him in custody, then there may be additional charges filed at the federal level.
Have you heard from church leaders when they'll be able to begin reusing their property?
I have spoke to the church leaders approximately 20 minutes ago. I let them know where we were, that we would continue to provide security for now as we have equipment here, and that they are welcome to come and start securing the premises.
So when will you be, do you know exactly when you'll be taking down the crime scene tape, letting them start going about their business here, trying to see what needs to be done to shore up the facility and fix it?
I have told them that as early as this evening they can start making repairs.
Thank you.
This motorcycle
Yes.
driver, have you been able to reach out to any local motorcycle groups or discuss that with any?
Yes,
any
as,
local
as I indicated, we have had investigators out combing the area. We have went to all the motorcycle shops. We have went to places where motorcyclists are known to frequent, and we have passed the picture around and we have asked questions. We just have not received information that leads to the identification of this individual at this time.
Any more of an update on this description of the guy? I know you said white or maybe Hispanic, yesterday male, but any?
Well, as you can see on the video, it's a male subject, either white or Hispanic. The issue is the video quality is, as you folks have seen yourself, it's not real clear. We have been working on enhancing the video. Thus far, we have not been able to enhance it enough to make it a clearer photograph. But when people look at this, I want them to look at the clothing. I want them to look at the shape of the motorcycle. I want them to look at the mannerisms of the individual, because you know, when it's somebody you know, even if they're walking away from you, you know who that person is. So I just implore everyone to call in the information. Somebody knows who did this. Please call.
There are people on your Facebook page trying to justify this, saying that it deserved to be burned down. Is the sheriff's office going to take those comments down, or what are you going to do about all the hate speech on your page?
Well, and like I started off with, you know, regardless of your personal beliefs, this is a place of worship. An arsonist lighting this mosque on fire is not good for anyone. It is not good for the community. It is not good for America.
Thank you.
Thank you, Major.
All right, any other questions? Good, thank you very much.
You've been listening live to Major David Thompson of the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. We'll stay on these pictures here as the press corps continues to ask the Major a couple of questions as this press briefing wraps up. Authorities still hunting for the suspected arsonist who took off on a motorcycle in the early hours of Monday morning after fire erupted at the Mosque, the Islamic Center of Fort Pierce. We covered it for you extensively here on News Channel 5 yesterday afternoon. Still no leads in this case. You heard the Major there quite exasperated during his briefing, indicating that, look, we put out 2 videos, we've put out a number of photos of the suspect in this case. We have all of this information. We've put it out to the public, and that only 8 tips had come in. He said he's vetted them all, and they've led to nothing. So quite frustrated. They've upped the ante in terms of a reward. Florida Advisory Committee against Arson is now stepping in, offering $5,000 for information in terms of the suspected arsonist, any information on the suspected arsonist in this case. And you heard our John Shaman ask a question as well. Apparently, the Council on American Islamic Relations has also offered $5,000. So now it sounds like any information could be met with about $10,000 reward in terms of if there's an arrest made on the back end of that. John Shaman, as I mentioned, was there. Our John Shaman was right there at the press briefing on the ground for us in Fort Pierce. We're going to connect with him. We're going to take a quick break. We'll hear from him on the other side.